Yakov that's Mishlichter, minhag tefillas avos and Motzei Shabbos. Like the Tisha B'Av, Rabbi Nosson sponsoring today's shir with the Nishmas Olive, Rabbi Nosson or Rashom Pesach Tzibur have the great special sponsor in shir called Eden Shir Torah 718-851-8651.
This week I learned once again a new chapter, minhag Torah. I started with a few shilas about the Motzei Shabbos davening. The Moshe, we heard someone said he heard that Chosin during the yeshiva brachas does not say B'Noyim and Pat is the tzibbur of saying B'Noyim. I think everyone knows that skipping B'Noyim is almost as great of a simcha like skipping Tachnun. You know, the thrill of it, and someone had a new chiddush. Chosin, Pat is the Tachnun, B'Noyim, never heard of this. Then we had a shaila about why many killers don't say Yiraw Chnenu during the week. During Motzei Shabbos, during the week they do say it. Last year we had the Pesach Shechal B'Shabbos, and the week before the Motzei Shabbos, of course, someone was all flustered. Some do say it, some don't say it. I think a very interesting question should have been again, but an Oinen, we had a shout in our family where my brothers went to Yerav with my Yושב, and the Kfur was Sunday night first, and they were Oinen him Shabbos and Sunday until the Kfur. And someone suggested you're going to miss Maariv, because an onion does not have a Maariv. Havdalah, he won't be able to say till Sunday night. Why don't you make an early Maariv on Motzei Shabbos? And then make Havdalah as outlined in the Gemara. Is that in the Gemara? So I looked into these shilas, and I think it would be a sugya of minhagim and whatever. But I saw a Torah Shalem, literally, mamash, a sugya with as our derech is one yisoid, basically one yisoid. And you see the reichkeit in our Torah that even though Maariv during the week we also daven, but the Motzei Shabbos, Maariv has its own unique identity, its own feature, and let's learn the sugya together. The first halacha regarding Motzei Shabbos, the Shulchan Aruch and recital the Gimel Aleph, ma'achrim tefillas arbes k'dei lahoisen mikhail al הקדש. The first thing we do, Motzei Shabbos, is keep Shabbos a little longer. Don't run away. Even though you already have Tosefes Shabbos, that's not a Chiddush, that's Pashut, but daven the later minyan. Why go to the early minyan? Go to the later minyan. This is based on a Gemara in Shabbos Kuf Yud Ches and Beis. Rabbi Yossi said he would love to makabel Shabbos someplace, the earliest place, and keep Shabbos until the latest man. Now, the truth is that we have to appreciate this halacha. Shabbos is Mekar HaBracha, like we say in the davening. The Be'iri in Shabbos Kuf Nun says, Ayoim kulei kadosh l'Hashem, ve'eich yoytzi kodesh hakadoshim l'chulim. Shabbos is one long day of kodesh hakadoshim. The Gemara says in the Besather Ksubas that it's a Maldik Gemara. Rabbi Yakov, after he was nifta, would come back to this world every Shabbos and make kiddush for his family on Friday night. Now, Kirega, Gillian Ashas points to a Sefer Hasidim, even though he was already nifta, but Tzadikim ben Misasam Kriyim Chayim, he was able to pater his family in kiddush. So the Gemara says one Friday night, Rabbi Yakov was there, and a neighbor came, I need a cup of sugar. And the maid that answered the door said, no, not now. Rebbe said, you can't come now. When Rebbe heard that someone else heard that he came back to this world for Shabbos, he said, I'm no longer coming back to this world. I can't make a bad reflection on other tzaddikim. They don't come back to this world for Shabbos, only I could. Now that people know about it, he's stopping to come back. Remember, Rabbi once pointed out, we can't imagine Rabbeinu HaKadosh is lichtige Gan Eden. And he left his lichtige Olam Haba to come back to this world for a Shabbos. So he says, we say in his mirrors, may ein Olam Haba yom Shabbos menucha, it's really inaccurate. Because Shabbos is even greater than Olam Haba. If Rebbe left, and remember he added, he said, and the other tzaddikim, Nebuch Fazeh, they didn't have Shabbos. They only had Olam Haba. So I'm not saying you start singing the Ein Shabbos Olam Haba But that should be Ashiras HaChayim, a whole Shabbos, that Shabbos is greater than Olam Haba. And that's why the longer we keep the Shabbos, the better we are. I remember in a different time, he said when he was young, he used to have in a shul Motzei Shabbos, and it bothered him, the typical dialogue. No, Zeit von Mariv. Nein, doch da 3 Minuten. Dein See gekriegt. And everybody's so impatient to run away from the Shabbos. Why not enjoy the Shabbos? The Zohar Kaddish and the Shavayit and Shar Ches, Perik Gimel quotes that Shabbos we have a Shpiza Rabbah, a very exalted guest, Yakira, and therefore keep the Shabbos as long as you can. But it's not just the heritage, it's the first halacha of our sugya, keep the Shabbos, that we have 2 million daven the leidim. The next halacha is even more striking. Reisha the Gimel Gimel, Mehadin loim of hu rachum u bרכו b'amiras noyam del hoisev v'chol al הקדש. You ready to show to lay the minyan? You ready to make this after Shabbos? Now, when you start to daven, slow down. Say v'hu rachum a little slower. Say bרכו if you're a chazan, or bרכו and bרכו if you're the tzibbur. Say it a little slower. And talk many have a special nusach v'hu rachum. The whole chazan is to slow down the v'hu rachum, to slow down the conclusion of Shabbos. Now we're talking about a regular commemorating of this Kodesh HaKadosh, but that's also worth it. But what's interesting is that there's probably a dozen Rishonim that record this minhag. The minhag, and this is quoted by the Shara Tshuva and Reisha the Gimel, adds that this is a skula, to have a protection during the week, to say Vuhu Racham and Bרכו slowly. The Birkei Yosef, Reisha the Gimel Beis, he says, I saw Zav Yad of Chaim Batal, Kabbalah the Mansi, it's a proven skula to say Vuhu Racham and Bרכו slowly. People today are very into skulas, but this is it. This is guaranteed by the Rishonim. But what's interesting is that this is really the first part of our Yesod for today. Maariv is to try to keep Shabbos longer, what we'll call the Chesed and Achayim. For us, the greatest chus, the longer the Shabbos. But then we come on to the other half of our Yesod, and that is based on, again, probably a dozen Rishonim, but we'll soon see it's based on a Shehilkus and a Chaygoyin, and actually a Medrash Tanchuma from the Amoraim. The Arzeru at the end of Simon Peites, he says, say Bרכו slowly. Why? Mipnei she'haneshama is chayzes legehenim achanikan, u'ma'od she'moishach einam chayzim. In other words, Gehenim closed for business over Shabbos. The resumption of Gehenim is Motzei Shabbos. When does Gehenim resume? When Shabbos is over. So the more we could stretch the Shabbos, it's not just a chesed and achayim for us. It's also a chesed and amesim for the neshamas in Gehenim. And the Shemone Esrei adds a dov hanifel. This is actually the beginning of Shar Ches Perik Aleph. And he says, Gehenim closes Erev Shabbos, opens Motzei Shabbos. What are the zmanim? Does the Gehenim hold Rabbi Tam's man, the Goyim's man? So he says it's up to the person. The person starts Shabbos very early. So, that's when Gehenim closes. The person is the first one out on Motzei Shabbos. So pardon me, he's the first one into the hot spot on Motzei Shabbos. So he says it's worthwhile investing on this world, starting Shabbos early, being Maariv Lavoi and Ma'achim Latzis. So here we see, which is really the Yesod for today, the Motzei Shabbos davening, the theme, the focus is, let's keep the Shabbos a little longer for the Chesed and Achayim, and even the Chesed and Amesim. Every Motzei Shabbos, we have a special 3 schools saying Burachim slowly, Bרכו if you're a chazan, and certainly the tzibbur, Bרכו Bרכho lo'olam voed. Because the Ruach quotes one of the Rishonim, he was Moishech Bרכו b'chol koichai. It's like, almost like a Shemone Esrei. But it's a school that's proven. But what's even more interesting, again, this is probably half a dozen Rishonim, but it's quoted in Shulchan Aruch, that before Vuhu Racham, or whatever you say, Motzei Shabbos, you add 2 Kaapitlאך Tilim, Lamatzeach Beneginais, and the David Baruch Hashem Tzuri. Now this minhag many never heard of, but this is a minhag that the Ramah will soon see quotes. Today you still see this in the Washington Heights Kehillah, the Vina, the Nitra. have a minhag that the tzibbur together sings these two Kaapitlach Tillim before starting Rachum. In fact, there's a special nigun that I was told, the nigun, the Kabbalah, goes back to the Levium sang in Beis HaMikdash. So a cynic asked me, how do they know? They have a tape of the Levium? So I saw a Chubas Krachshol Raimi, back in the Simon Aleph, who says this Yisoid, just many years ago, that the nigun that you even sing with David Baruch and Motzei, what is a Kabbalah when the Levium sang it in Beis HaMikdash. So if a Gadol of the Achronim says it, we believe it. But imagine, you go to the latest minyan, and then you sing two Kaapitlach, and then you start the long Burachim and Bרכו. Again, it's the same Yisoid, the Chesed and Achayim, more Shabbos and Chesed and HaMesid. Now, after all this, there's no doubt it will be a Geschmack and Maariv. You're getting ready for Maariv. You know, I saw an Alicha Shloima in beginning of Perek Tesvav. They write from a Zalman's younger man, he would go every Motzei Shabbos to the Kaisel to have a Maariv. Now, he didn't live by the Kaisel, he made a trip. However, he did it, but he traveled every Motzei Shabbos. He davened in a special minyan that the Shliach Tzibur was observed Braverman, and the Maariv took a complete hour. His Soyer is HaNefesh. Now, I'm not saying you should daven for an hour, I don't daven for an hour, but at least a few minutes of the davening should be a davening. And it's unbelievable. The Soyer is Azak Kluga. Punkt the Motzei Shabbos Maariv, the mindset, the tone is quick, hurry, you know. And, you know, Maariv sometimes turns out like, you know, Yeshua Hashem Keherafayim, you know, that identity. You know, Mom's flying. But Punkt, this is the Maariv of all Maarivs. Plus the, as the Ruah says, daven slowly, Shabbos shouldn't be near a Kamasui, but the davening has to have more kavana, more focus. And then you can understand, you'll see, how many halachas are based on this season. I'll give you another example. There's halacha in Shulchan Aruch, Reish Tzadik Aleph, see, based on a Gemara, that you're not supposed to drink water bein hashmashos of Shabbos. Why? So the reason, the base of this halacha is the Mordechai and Sachim Kofei, and I just saw brother Ben Bachai, in Parashas Yisrael, and the Pasuk Zachas and Shabbos Akash, the exact same thing. Since the Rishayim leave Gehenim Friday, they need water, bein hashmashos of Friday. They're going back to Gehenim Motzei Shabbos, whatever this means, but they need water for the new week. And if a person drinks water on this world from the Naharais, he's being goizel asamesim the water that they need. I know this is way out of my range, but this is the halacha that the Rishayim and the Bnei Bachai points out. Just like we add to the davening Motzei Shabbos because we're concerned about the mason going back to Gehenna, we don't drink water for the same concern. Now, in Maisa, many people are aware of this minute. They don't drink water Motzei Shabbos during Bein Hashmashos until either Shabbos is over or else until it's late into the Zman. Some people never heard of it, and there are reasons to justify the minute for them to drink water on Shabbos by Shalosh Shuddis, because some say it's really only Friday Bein Hashmashos, and some say it's only for someone that's an adult Torah Shana. So that's a different sugya, you know, why people are not nizir in this halacha. But the halacha of drinking water Bein Hashmashos of either Friday or Shabbos is based on this concept of the Chesed and HaMesid. Rather, the Mordechai that I mentioned adds, that's why you need to say Tzidkascha Shabbos by Mincha, because it's a Tziddik Adin of the Gehenna that is resuming shortly. So, the point is that the Shabbos, the Motzei Shabbos, is to keep the Shabbos and also have in mind, you know, the Mason. That's interesting that someone asked me a question, and now I appreciate it more. Nusach Ashkenaz starts Maariv Rachum. But Nusach Sfar every single night begins Shir Amalais and Kaddish. Why Punkt Motzei Shabbos when the objective is to delay Maariv and add to Maariv and add to Kaapitlach Tillim? Do we cut out a piece of the Maariv that we do every single night? It should be more, not less. And I found the Teras Chayim, Nundala Gimel, Hillel David, the Gimel Nundala, asked this kasha. You know, if you don't say it the whole week, okay. When you say it the whole week of Punkt Motzei Shabbos, we're supposed to add, not subtract. So if you look at the Mishnah Berurah, Meish Lamed Zayin, Sitkot and Beis, he says, why Taka does Nusach start saying Shir Amalais? Because a person came from work, the whole week he was working, the whole day he was working, and to fall into Krishna Kabbalah Salach Shemaim without some Torah is inappropriate. So you need the Pitnach Tilim, the Pasuk Tilim, Psukim Tilim, to get Torah, and then you could daven Maariv. I saw that Piskei Teshuvos, Rabbi points out correctly, maybe that's why we don't say Shir Amalis on Motzei Shabbos. You had a Shabbos of learning, you had a Shal Shudas Torah, so maybe you don't need the Psukim before the Maariv. But one thing I can say, I give it in Yeshiva, they do say Shir Amalis, even Motzei Shabbos. And that should be really, it seems that makes more sense, but the minhag ha'olam is, of course, as we explained. The next part of the Motzei Shabbos davening, or maybe I should say more accurately, the missing part of davening is the bרכו of yirayu that is said typically before Shemone Esrei of Mariv. Now, the minhag Hagro and minhag Takahir and Stalin and many other places, they don't say it a whole week, minhag Eretz Yisrael. So if you don't say it a whole week, you don't say Motzei Shabbos, it's Shalom Al Yisrael. The very penetrating question is, those that do say it a whole week, they typically nusach svard, why Punkt Motzei Shabbos do we omit it? And the Mamshik in the Tshuva Siman Tzad Gimel, and he makes a reference to the Siddur Iyan HaTfilah. If you look at the Iyan HaTfilah, he says there's no makar whatsoever for this minhag, and he says the Chat Shirav was marish oilamis that they should say it Motzei Shabbos. Because in Seichel, we try to add to the Motzei Shabbos davening, not eliminate parts of davening. And Reiz Apella, the Shulchan HaTorah, the Kamarna in Reish Ma'amidvav Aleph, he says that the Baal Shem Tov said Yirayu on Motzei Shabbos, and he said, go say it in Chutz La'aretz and Eretz Yisrael, and those that don't say it on Motzei Shabbos are being mefaktik on the Chlal saying it, so they shouldn't say it during the week either. You hold this bracha Batal Motzei Shabbos, so why during the week? So now we're a little intimidated. You know, what's the basis of the minhag of typically nusach svard in Chutz La'aretz? Moshe also in Yeridei Gimel Tzadik Vav Sidka and Chesed Ein Lezeh Shum Makar Mir B'Seinu to that minhag. But I found a beautiful cheshbon, the Teras Chaim in Reish Lamed Vav Gimel, that was the son of Chaim Seifa. He says that really, why did Chazal institute the bרכו of yirayu? It's not in the Gemara. Because there was a time they couldn't daven Shemone Esrei, either they were scared to be in the fields, or because there was a fear of the goyim. So they made the yirayu, that's sort of like Nabim Kaim Shemone Esrei. So he says, but Motzei Shabbos, they never said the bרכו of yirayu instead of Shemone Esrei. Why not? Why put down Motzei Shabbos? It's like we don't see Havinu on Motzei Shabbos. So therefore, from Ikara, they never had a takana to say Yirayu on Motzei Shabbos. Now, I would just add, when Ram quotes a Ravid, that why takana they say Yirayu was a slightly different cheshbon, because the whole week a person was so knocked out from the work, Ba'oyev Minasod, he had no koyach daven Shemone Esrei. So instead, Yirayu. Motzei Shabbos, you have to have Baal Shabbos, Baal Menucha, Menucha Diki Shabbos, you're ready to daven a regular Shemone Esrei, but the point seems to be, there was never the bרכו of yirayu on Motzei Shabbos. Now, l'maisa, if someone has whatever minhag you have, minhag Yisrael Torah, but one thing I would say, if someone's a shliach tzibbur, and his personal minhag is not to say yirayu, and he davens by a tzibbur that does say it, to say it with the tzibbur. I was once at a shul, and the other one said yirayu, and boom, to shots, when he was quiet, he started saying Kaddish. So, unknowingly, he was geisel the tzibbur from an amenu. Then I saw a different scenario, such a person that didn't want to say yirayu, so he told someone next to him to say yirayu out loud. And how this all happened during davening. But the truth is, Rav Moshe, and this is recorded in the Haggadah Tigris Moshe, Rav Moshe's minhag was not to say yirayu, minhag Haggadah, but when he davened as a shliach tzibbur, he said, you know, if you don't want to say it, find a minhag that has your minhag. But how could a person come into a tzibbur and openly defy the minhag? It's inappropriate and can get halacha. So if someone does have to daven the yomid and he wants to not say yirayu, so go to shul that has that minhag, or else say it with the tzibbur. There's definitely not a chashash of bרכו batal. The second part of our sugya is the post-Shemone Esrei additions. Now this we know, we add actually three different parts to the Yom Yoshev says and then we call Kedusha the Sidra, since we call it Tzion, but the Akdsh, we call Kedusha the Sidra. What's the reason for these additions? So as we'll see, based on a Tanchuma and based on a Shiltas, the earliest sources It was simply to prolong the Shabbos. Either we should have a longer Shabbos, or as the Shiltis and the Tanchuma say, to delay the resumption of Gehenna. As long as it's Shabbos, Gehenna is not resumed. Now, this needs a big hezbollah. Because if you tell me you say daven in the later minyan, or you stretch Rachum, I understand it helps because it's still Shabbos until Atochen Atonu. But once you already daven Shemone Esrei and you say Atochen Atonu, it's already Shabbos. So what do you mean? You're delaying Shabbos? You're delaying Gehenna? It's not yet Shabbos. So if you have that kasha, you'll have a bigger kasha in Yana D'Yayim. Because there's a whole simon of Shulchan Aruch, we've got Tafresh Pei Aleph, regarding the order of Ner Chanukah on Motzei Shabbos. So the Mechaba, the Ramah, the Goyim all say, first you do Ner Chanukah, and then you do Havdalah. Why? So either Pisum Hisa has priority, or you want to be Ma'achal Yitzias Shabbos. The Taz has a big kasha. What about Tadah Shein Tadah? Don't forget, some say Tadah is a Deraisa. And Motzei Shabbos Havdalah is Tadir. But the Ma'aseh Mechaber Ramon the Goyim say Havdalah first. Why? To delay Shabbos. This is a plea. Where are you holding? You already got the Mariv, and you already sinned in Chanukah Licht. What kind of Shabbos remains? So the Aliyah Rabbah, and Sif Cotton Aleph, Tafresh Bi Aleph, says even though you daven Mariv and you did Malacha, Adayin Yesh Reyach Kedushos Nishma Shabbos Ad Havdalah Lachos. There's still a trace of Shabbos. Now his notion is Reyach Kedusha Shabbos, the Mekubalim use a lotion, there's the Roshim of Shabbos. So raise a bell. You're giving up a Deraisa de Katadesh and Katadir for not Shabbos, for a Reyach Kedusha Shabbos. And what about Shabbos? What about Me'ein Shabbos Olam Haba? What about the Kodesh HaKadoshim? So if we delay the Ner Chanukah, we make Ner Chanukah first and delay Havdalah, because of a Reach of Shabbos, obviously there's something to gain by adding Dinayim, Yeshvizelia, and Yakov. To be begotten in Tafresh Me'al says it's more pashut. We don't want to show Keter Berch Beis HaSeifa, so we do anything we can to delay Havdalah. But be that as it may, this explains the minhag of adding the last part of davening to simply, even though the davening Maariv Atonu, but a little more of the Reach Shabbos is wonderful for the Chaim and the Meis. Now there is a second cheshbon, like I mentioned. There are more in the end of Reish Sadekei. V'oymen v'inoyim v'sei the Kedusha b'arichos v'dei la'achas say the Kedusha she'oz chayzon ha'rishayim l'gehenna. Now if you look at the Shiltas with Rabbi Goyim in Parshas Bereshis, Siman Aleph, he says the Pharaoh's Kedinoyim is said to delay Shabbos, so the Rishayim will have a little longer reprieve from Gehenna. There's a third reason in Dinayim that has a big impact on our halacha. The Shibbolei Aleket, one of the Rishayim, and again this is actually in Goyim also, and many Rishayim say this also, but Shibbolei Aleket, the Siman Kuf Chav Tes, he says Shabbos we stop doing malacha, and hopefully we stop thinking about malacha, and we even stop davening for malacha. We didn't say Baruch Aleinu the whole Shabbos. Now, unfortunately, it's Tzrik to the Gel, Tzrik to the Welt. We're going back to Masi Yodeinu. So we have to daven for Panasa. And that's the short, the very powerful Amira of Inayam, Masi Yodeinu Koinanei, Masi Yodeinu Koinanei. It's simply a tefillah for Panasa that now we're going back to the work week. I saw one of the Kadmonim, the Yom Zeb, in Beis Reishu Test, he combined the two reasons. He says, really, the Kadmonim say that the reason for saying B'Inoyam is for the Rishayim and Gehenim. But we're going back to the work week. He says, we have to have a reminder, let's be Erdach during the week. That's what he says, so we don't end up in Gehenim. A very subtle reminder. It's and I think there's a lot of, pashtus to that. A Yid's tachlis on this world, besides Kavati and Latayr, something more in Shabbos, is Nasosa and Asata B'Emunah. So if that's our ticket to Olam Haba, that's one of the first questions we ask Lasam Labai. So a person is less than Erlich, I don't want to say where he ends up. So that's the ticket to Olam Haba, and Rahman Aslan Fakir. So we start of the week, we think about the Rishayim and Gehenim, and we think about ourselves. Our Ma'aseh Yadayna should be with the greatest Nasosa and Asata B'Emunah. So that's the Vihinoyim. What about Yoshev B'Seser? I need not tell you, Vihinoyim is one compared to Tehillim, and Yoshev B'Seser is a totally different one. So this, the Shmoli Aleket says simply that Shabbos is the ultimate Shmirah. We don't say Shem Am Yisrael Lo'ad. We don't need it. Shabbos is Shmirah. Now going back to the darkness of weekdays, we need Shmirah. What is the tefillah for Shmirah, the Shira Pegoyim? That's the tefillah of the Kapitel of Yoshev B'Seser earlier. But he adds, Leisuner Lecha Ra'ah is a tefillah for the Rishayim and Gehenim, Ein Ra'ah Gehenim, so we really, again, we're focusing on Chaim and Mason. Then you start what we call the Kedusha, the Siddur, the Atta Kadosh. Now, this Kedusha, the Siddur, we say every single morning, and Motzei Shabbos, unfortunately, I think many underappreciate, underestimate. The Gemara says in Sotah Daf Memtes, there are so many problems today. I don't know what the Gemara would say about our times, but in the Gemara's times, there's so much sorrows. Alma Ma'ikam Kayim, what does the world continue to exist on? What's the Schuzkiyim? Kedusha the Siddur. It's the Volatsian that we say every morning. That extraordinary tefillah keeps the world in its existence. So it's very nice during the week. Why Motzei Shabbos? And don't forget, we don't say Kedusha at night ever. So why Kedusha the Siddur Motzei Shabbos? So this is, I think, the earliest source for the Chesed and Mason theory. The Tanchum and Parshas Kisisa in Ois Lamed Gimel spells it out to delay Shabbos longer, to delay Gehenna. In fact, he finds the remnants in the pasuk in Eov. Tzalmaves v'lo Storim. When does the Tzal Maves? When does the Gehenna begin? After the Seder of Kedusha the Siddur. So, and the Torah quotes of Allah in Reis Sadikei. We're marichin with Vinoyam and Atakadosh. Why? Laharach Harvei. So, in order Laharach Mishayim Lavzul again. So it's amazing that the beginning of Shemone Esrei, the beginning of Maariv, and now Vinoyam, Yoshev B'Seser Elyoim, Atakadosh. I won't say B'derech Tzach, but it's true. Shalish Lefaneh and Shalish La'achrel. We have Rachum, Bרכho, and some, let's still say two Kaapitlach, that's the Fanea. Shlosh La'achrel, Vinoyim, Yoshev B'Seser Elyoim, Atakadosh, is all Chesed and Achayim and Chesed and Mason. It's all for that same reason. Grada, the Abudraham quoting the Matei Moshe Tovtzad B'Kres quoting Rishonim at a different kinech. It's also the Gel Halacha. And they say, very nice, you started your Motzei Shabbos with Vinoyim about Panasa. What about the Rebbeinu Shalom? What about the Rebbeinu Shalom's Minhag Kaviyachol? It's not Derech Eretz. You worry about yourself, not the Barayla. So if he said Vinoyim, Tzorchei Atzmai, then we focus on Kvod Shemayim, and that's Kedusha the Siddur. A very prominent tefillah for Kvod Shemayim. And we'll soon see the impact that has. But be that as it may, the tefillahs that we say, minhag Yisrael Torah, ganze Torah and these minhagim. Why don't we begin Uval Lציון like we do during the week with Uval Lציon? So the Mishnah Berurah says, because Ein Gula Balayla, the one time we're saying it at night, there's no Gula at night. Why don't we say Manizais Brisi, the next pasuk that we typically say during the week? So the Taz says the two psukim are close together in Tehillim, so we skip both of them. But other poskim say, and Mishli Chiddush, or Rishonim I should say Mishli Chiddush, Tisha B'Av we can't say Manizais Brisi either. Because it's talking about the Musha Torah and the bris, we don't want to bris on Tisha B'Av, the bris of Chorban on Tisha B'Av. So if we don't say Manizais Brisi on Tisha B'Av, we don't say it every Motzei Shabbos. Which is interesting. Once a year dictates what we say every single week. But anyhow, we begin the Atta Kadosh, we skip the first two psukim. Someone asked me an interesting question. If you're delaying the end of davening to keep Shabbos longer, so why do you have to delay the beginning of davening? Still not yet Ois Shabbos till the end of davening. And it's discussion. As much as you could do, the better it is. You delay the beginning, delay at the end, and also delaying in the beginning leaves you with real Shabbos. Delaying at the end leaves you with a Dehoibana Reyach HaShabbos, but of course delay before Shabbos is much more meaningful. This is interesting, just briefly, I saw the Chachma Musa, that's the Alta from Kelman, this Talmud, the Rechum Levovitz, In Chatzkel Levins, they also Musa say that the Yisoid of Avelos and Aninus is Noisibol and Chavera. You think about it, an Oinen, Leolenu, it has so many Ketur mitzvahs, I mean, there's no learning, there's no mitzvahs, and Avelos is a time that there's very little learning and mitzvahs, and he said that's a concept of Noisibol. The mace is going through Dinim, Gedolim, so the family and the living are Noisibol. In fact, there's a Mavaldik Maisa that the Rachum was made on, that his Rebbe, the Alta from Kelm, had a very sickly complexion, looked very sick and pale, but Shabbos came, he looked totally different. He had a Shabbos, the Shema, the Yisrael on Shabbos showing him. And Mariv, they saw Rabbi Rachum, during the week was pale, and Shabbos looked totally different. And one of the babies swore to me, you came to Yeshiva during the week with Rabbi Rachum, you came to Shabbos, where's the Mashkiach? That's him. That's him? You could recognize him. He said about himself, he has a Shabbos stick in the Shema. That's why he looked different on Shabbos. But anyhow, the Alta had this tchuna, and one Shabbos he looked very pale. And they were afraid to ask him what's wrong. But right after Shabbos he crafts, Oy, Peretz Samoliskin, who was one of the terrible koifrim that were the head of the Haskalah movement, was nifta. I was thinking about the din and kasha he's going through. So on Shabbos even, Pasha couldn't help his Messias, for a Russia. And how about being nice to all for a mace that's relative or someone we know? And that's what it seems to me, why is there such a big focus beginning of the week on Chesed and Mamesim? Because one of our Shlichus HaChayim is nice to all Chaveira. After Yachim Moiches, Ekladol B'Toyer, Hamlachus Chavercha Benachas, so much of Yiddishkeit is Trachten von Yen. So we start our week thinking about Parnasa, about Erlichkeit, and thinking about Yen and nice to all Chaveira. And now we come to the next part of the sugya, when we don't say V'noyim Yesh Tzelya and the Kodesh. So what's most pashut when Motzei Shabbos falls on Yom Kippur, Mashal, this year Pesach of Shabbos and Sunday. So Motzei Shabbos is still Yom Kippur. We do not say V'noyim, etc. Why not? For us, it's pashut Zil Basatayna. The reason of Malacha does not apply. We don't do Malacha Yom Kippur. The reason of Shmira doesn't apply. Yom Kippur is also a Shema. The reason of the Gehenim doesn't apply. Yom Kippur is not Rezuma. On Motzei Shabbos, that's Yom Kippur. So there's absolutely no reason to say V'noyim, etc. That's why we don't stretch Rachum. I mean, we don't even say Rachum, but on Yom Kippur, it's not necessary. This is, I found in the Goyim, or Amrim Goyim, or Sarshon Goyim, will say we don't stretch Murachim, we don't say Murachim, because it's not necessary when it's Yom Tov. When Motzei Shabbos falls on Purim, or Tisha B'Av, you see we have Tisha B'Av, and we have often Motzei Shabbos Purim, then according to almost all sheets, that's the minhag, we do say V'noyim. Purim is B'cha Yom Tov, but it's not a din in Yom Tov. It's a din in Bitul Malacha, or a din in Shmira, or a din in Gehenim, and Motzei Shabbos, that's Purim or Tisha B'Av, there's no Bitul Malacha, there's no Shmira, there's no, concern of, there's no reason of the Gehenim not resuming. So all the reasons dictate, even if it's a Yom Tov, if there's no Bitul Malacha and there's no Shmira, that's why Motzei Shabbos, Tisha B'Av, or Purim, we do say V'noyim. What's interesting, we'll soon see on Motzei Tisha B'Av, we skip out a little bit of that. He said we don't say the first two psukim, but basically we say the rest of it. What's also pashut if Motzei Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh or Chanukah, even though Rosh Chodesh is a Yom Tov, Yom Simchasam U'Vayadechem U'Rosh Chodshechem, but it's still not enough of a Yom Tov L'gabi Bitul Malacha, Gehenim, and Shmira. Chanukah is the same. So when Chanukah or Rosh Chodesh falls on Motzei Shabbos, we say it as regular. Which leads us to the next question. Let's say we could find a situation that it's not a Yom Tov at all, but there's a Bitul Malacha. Would that be enough of a reason to pata saying V'noyim? What do I mean? I mean an Aval Le'alein. An Aval is certainly not a Yom Tov. When an Aval is Asur B'Malacha, the days of Avelis. And that's why the Magen Avraham in Bina Rei Sadik Hey he records a minhag, B'Shem B'Knesset Gdoila. In some places, the Avel does not say Vihi Noyam. Now listen to the diuk here, because it's more than a diuk, it's obvious. There's no reason to skip Yoshev or Tisha B'Av. But Vihi Noyam, that's symbolic of Malacha, that's not applicable for an Avel. So the Magen Avraham is saying the Avel skips Vihi Noyam and says the rest of it, because there's no reason to skip the rest of it. But Vihi Noyam is really inappropriate for him. And however, if you look in the Rekeach, in Siman Reish Mem, talk about Purim, Motzei Shabbos, and many of the Rishonim, it seemed that the minhag was that an Avel said even Vihi Noyam, besides the rest of it. Bittul Malacha. So when the Klug and the Alf Hashloim, Siman Kuf Yutes, and the Meril Diskin, and Kundisach and Heikut Habites Gimel both say, yes, the Avel is Asur B'Malacha. What about the rest of the world? You don't daven for yourself. You say all of davening, including Vihi Noyam, in the Lashon Rabbi. I was thinking, if the whole Motzei Shabbos is nice to oil, so the has to daven for him. So just because he's no reason to say it for him. And that's Taka the minhag. So the Geshachayim in Chaf, Ois Gimel, Sifkat and Tes says, the minhag is that the Avel says the entire Vihi Noyam and everything else as well. Now, just to mention, there are some Mekubalim, not the Mekubalim, but the Rabbi Yosef, the Rabbi Yosef quotes Tarizal, and the Taliyos writes this emphatically, that on Kabbalah, we always have to say Vihi Noyam every Motzei Shabbos, even when it's Chal and Yom Tov. So we don't do that, but when you have a suffix what to do, Kedayu Lachriya, the Kabbalah always said it. So an Avel should say it, no matter, even though some say not to, but the minhag is to say it for two reasons. First of all, it's hard to say why not to say it. Also, Kabbalah says say it whenever it's hurt when you have a suffix. Which leads us to the next delightful question. Why did someone think, or someone heard here, that a chassan doesn't say Vihi Noyam? So let me tell you, I traced this. Shemone Esrei was once asked, a chassan that's asur b'malacha during this Tisha B'Av is chassan the Torah, maybe he shouldn't say Vihi Noyam. So he smiles, says a nice heart. So from that became a shmua that you don't say Vihi Noyam, and I guess people were, moist to Michal al Kodesh, and therefore the whole tzibbur doesn't say it, and it became a new Yom Tov of not saying Vihi Noyam. But for us, it's very hard to accept this. First of all, you're not going to find in the Paiskim about electricity, because they don't have electricity. But I assume they have Chassanim getting married, Psulah to say the MRP. So why does this say anything about a chassan? If it speaks about another, why not a chassan? And for us, even more perplexing, because even Avel, the minhag is to say, so how can a chassan be different? So again, a chassan is also Yom Tov, but a Yom Tov is not the machriya, it's the malacha. So, and the same reason that daven for Yenim applies to a chassan. And Taka, I found in the back of Alif Hashleim in Tefillah, Amud Reish Tes Sadik, Rosh Hashanah's son, Rabbi, he writes to his nephew, they were putting out Alif Hashleim, Rosh Hashanah's Torah. He says, the Zayda would not be happy if you quote that psak in his name, because he never said Allah L'maisa. And he says, amongst the other reasons, he says, the Vihi Noyam, we'll see, in the kinnis that people say on Motzei Shabbos, Tisha B'Av, there's a blush Vihi Noyam nishbas with Motzei Shabbos. We don't say Vihi Noyam on Motzei Shabbos Tisha B'Av, like we'll soon see. Who wrote those kinnis? The Kalir. Toisa said the Kalir was a Tana. That means Vihi Noyam was such a big asik that you have to say Motzei Shabbos Tisha B'Av, you don't say it. But you don't vark with saying it, don't say it, a Tana had to speak about it on Motzei Shabbos Tisha B'Av. Also, he says, just like an other says it, a chassan not better. And then he says, but there tzachis, the chassan is asur b'malacha, but it's the kala to do malacha. And now Masiyah there goes to the chassan, so Masiyah there the koineneu. And then he says also, I guess in appreciation, he says, the words Vihi Noyam, which Selgin is very appropriate for a chassan. He says, if you make him his new mishkan ma'at, he can use a yoshev to say Sir Elyon. So let me just put an end to this call of Leipasik. A chassan does say Vihi Noyam, and again we'll throw in that Pikabol, we should always say it, but that's certainly not enough of a reason. Now there's another Torah that's a little confusing, I want to try to clarify it, and that is when people say when Yom Tov is during the week, you don't say Vihi Noyam, etc. Now that at first glance it's hard to understand, because even Motzei Shabbos Purim we say it, so why when Yom Tov is Tuesday, or maybe Shavuos can be Friday. So we don't say Vinayim 5 days earlier. So the earliest source, the Torah in the end of Reish Tzaddik Gimel, he says, since Vinayim is said because Ma'u Masa Yodeinu Kaineneu, the Vav of Umasi Yodeinu symbolizes to say Vinayim, Motzei Shabbos, you have to have 6 work days in the coming week. But if Yom Tov is any one of the 6 days, you do not say Vinayim. Now this is based on the Go'ayim, the Amram Go'ayim and other Rishonim. So we have 2 Chedushim. We don't say Vinayim when Yom Tov is any of the 6 days during the week. But we also have another Chedush that we can appreciate. So why do we say the rest of it? If let's say Pesach falls on Tuesday or whatever day it falls on, so why do we say the rest of it? So it's very bishmak. We only say Kedusha tzibbur because covered for our Hanossa. We have to have covered Hashem. Once we're not saying Vinayim, we don't say Kedusha tzibbur. So it's all a package deal apparently that we can't start. And the Ramah in Reish Tzaddik quotes this Lalacha, and the Taz adds, even if Yom Tov is Friday and Shabbos of the next week, we skip it in the week, the Motzei Shabbos before. What I found to be a gem, the Matan Moshe in Simon Tov Tzaddik, Matan Moshe, the Talmud of the Marshal, the earliest Achronim, he says, if you look at the whole pasuk Vinayim, and also the next kapitel, Yoshev Israel Yoim, you will not find the Oy Zayin. Now, I take that personally, that my name begins with the Zayin. What happened to the Oy Zayin? See, I looked at it. There's not a Zayin in the whole Vinayim Yoshev Israel Yoim. So, Softa Matan Moshe, when there's no Vav Yemei Malacha, we skip that whole package, which is 7 days of a year. When there's no Vav, the Zayin days, the Nelam, the Yoshev Israel Yom, when there's no 6 work days, and it comes out to be 7 days that it's Nelam the whole Vinayim. What are the 7 days? Rosh Hashanah comes out the next week, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shmini Atzeres, Pesach, Shvishal Pesach, and Shavuos. So, Minei Yubei, we once again see minhag Yisrael Torah. I answer them as in the Vav and the Zayin. Obviously, this needs a hesper. Okay, I mean, it's a nice remnants and all, but if Shavuos falls out on Fridays, I'm going to work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm working 5 days. I don't need a tefillah. I have a nice remnants. Where's my tefillah for my master? So the Yidus in the Siddur, in the Siddur Yidus, Abbas Motzei Shabbos, the end of Siddur Vav, he says, if you have a weekday that has a package of Shabbos and Yom Tov, any day, even if it's the last day of the week, there is so much Kedusha in the Shabbos before and the Yom Tov after, to daven for Panasa is a bezoyin in Kedusha Shabbos and Yom Tov. So if you have a full weekday, full week work week, you need. But if there's any Yom Tov and any day, even Friday, you're not allowed to daven for the Panasa. The Kedusha Shabbos on one side, Yom Tov on the other side, will take care of you. But then he adds, and what about the Mason? Chesed Machai, what about the Mason? So he says, if it's Yom Tov during the week, Gehenna is not open the entire week. Extend the weekend. So we have a nice attire and a very generous Rebbeinu. But one thing is pashut. Someone asked me, when Yom Tov falls, the next Shabbos, do we skip Vinayim in Motzei Shabbos before? The answer is no, because it's a full weekday. If you want to count the next Shabbos, so you can count the next Shabbos, you have to count the next Yom Tov. So it's only when there's a Yom Tov, even a Friday, partners the entire week. Now, this will answer my kasha that I had. The Paiskim say that Motzei Shabbos that falls on Purim, or Tisha B'Av, you say Vinayim. But let's say Motzei Shabbos falls on Hamoed, then you skip Vinayim, etc. Why? Because Hamoed is a Yom Tov, that's Asur B'Malacha. Like Chaim said, then Hamoed is a Yom Tov, no, there's a certain attainment. But Hamoed is a Yom Tov. So it bothered me, why do you have to come on to this reason that Hamoed is a Yom Tov? Every time Motzei Shabbos Hamoed is a Yom Tov during the week, think about it. But Sechavta Nafkamina. In Eretz Yisrael, when Sukkot, the first day, falls on Shabbos, and then the Shmini Atzeres on Shabbos, and the 6 days of Hamoed in between. So there is no Yom Tov during the week. It's only Hamoed. So then you have to come on to say that Hamoed is a Patur Atzmi, if Motzei Shabbos is Yom Tov. I think that cheshbon you need only at Yisrael when you have 6 days of Hamoed in between. Pesach Shechal B'Shabbos we had this past year, and someone came to his foster. In his shul, they skipped the Noam on Motzei Shabbos HaGodol. The Mishnah said the Farish, and our Simon is supposed to say it on Motzei Shabbos HaGodol on Pesach Shabbos. I told him, I understand. The Mishnah says to say it. Why? Because there's no Yom Tov during the 6 days. But the Yaibitz in Chelik Aleph, Yud Tes and Chubis, and Rabbi Yosef and Sif Cotton Bay say that Erev Pesach is also a Yom Tov. That's also b'malach al kapan after Chatzos. So for that alone, al Erev Pesach, we're allowed to skip Rabbi Yonai in the Motzei Shabbos HaGodol. Now, Mishnah obviously held it's only a half a day, and it's mutter in extenuating circumstances. But at least you can understand why those that skip it, because of the Erev Pesach Shechal Friday, and those that say it because it has to be a full-fledged, full day Yom Tov. All agree when Erev Pesach Chal B'Shabbos and Pesach is for Sunday, even though Friday has a little bit of a trace of an Erev Pesach, like Gabi Mechiras Chametz, etc., but Gabi burning Chametz, but it's still not enough of a reason to skip Yonai in the preceding Motzei Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos Shuvah, do we say Na'am because Yom Kippur is the next week? That's the fair. That's one of the 7 days. When Yom Kippur falls on Shabbos, then we do. That's the one time we say Na'am in Motzei Shabbos Shuvah. Erev Yom Kippur, which that year is Erev Shabbos, is a Groisa Yom Kippur. We have Suda, and we skip a lot of parts of davening because it's Yom Kippur. Thursday, it's Yom Kippur, true. But the hidden criterion is not Yom Tov, it's Issa Malacha. And there's no Issa Malacha on Erev Yom Kippur, even though it's a Yom Tov. This Yisoid will give us clarity to a few more halachas I call the Shayla Shoynes. There are more Yeridei Shin Ayim Bov Dal, according to Kolboy, says that the minhag is that an Ovel Toich Shona gets maftir and davens Maariv Motzei Shabbos to the Yom Tov. Why? Why does he have to daven Motzei Shabbos to the Yom Tov? Shuzman shechoyim neshamas legehenim. So from Ramah it seems that the time that an Ovel davens is once a week Motzei Shabbos, which is a chiddush because the Ramah himself writes he's supposed to daven the whole week. So it seems from the Ramah clear that there's more of a reason that an Ovel should daven Motzei Shabbos than any other day. Why? Oh, that the Ramah himself explained. Because now is a very crucial, critical time. The neshamas is going back together. So, although the Ovel should try to daven every day of the week when he's allowed to, but primarily there's a chiyuv to daven Motzei Shabbos out the reason again. Now, the minhag in this Heilig Gemakom that we have to makatayv as an achsanya for us all these years is that the Ovel dafka doesn't daven Motzei Shabbos for the Yom Tov. I'm not going to be guilty of lichboish as a malki imi baboyis. So, I think the cheshbon is very partial. If we understand we're pushing off the Motzei Shabbos, the resumption of Gehenim, maybe there's no reason for the Ovel to daven, because there's no Gehenim. Okay, that's why he's stretching it out. When he finishes, he'll daven tomorrow morning. Or it could be Motzei Shabbos has still a trace, as we said, of Kedusha Shabbos. An Ovel doesn't daven on Shabbos, doesn't daven on Motzei Shabbos. So minhag Yisrael Torah, the minhag of many people, the minhag here and other Mekaymis, each has a basis in halacha. What's a bigger chiddush that it's kedai to mention, hopefully bring a little more shalom ba'olam, there's a minhag that people are literally moisei nefesh to daven for the Yom Motzei Shabbos, and the Motzei Shabbos before the yard site. Now that's a very fertile ground for machlekes, statistically, because there could be 6 yard sites during the coming week. You know, the Motzei Shabbos Maariv is a gabe's dilemma. How do you juggle? You know, who davens? He has yard site Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The truth is, in Havana, it makes no sense. Why does he have to daven to the Yom? You know, it's years after the Petira. It's far from getting, the mace is very, very far from Gehenna. You know, even after 11 months, we stopped davening to the Yom and saying Kaddish. So why the yard site? What are you worried about Gehenna? And Taka, I saw from Kadmoinim that wonder about this minhag. Rav Sternbuch and Chelik Aleph Reish Hainei quotes the Briskirov that there's no makar for this minhag. He then quotes from a Shmuel Salant that not only said there's no makar, but opposed the minhag. Because you're implying that the relative is in Gehenna. What are you davening for them for? However, the Gesher Chaim in Perek Lamed Beis Ne'agot records this minhag, and he says a novel explanation. A yid is zeichet v'neshama yiseir kol yimei chayav. When the neshama yiseir leaves the person permanently, the last Shabbos of his life. So the Motzei Shabbos before the Tira, in a certain sense, was the yard site of the neshama yiseir. And that's why the Avo keeps that minhag. Okay, so it's a wonderful minhag, but it definitely is not a rationalization of machlokes. I mean, even davening during the Avelas does not justify machlokes. It's hard to believe that machlokes brings schusim for the nifter. But more than that, if a Avo wants the Amid and someone has the yard site, the coming week wants the Amid, about the Avo goes first. The minhag is basically hard to understand, but certainly an Avo has kedima to someone that has yard site during the week. Certainly, if there are two people that yard site during the week, it's not so partial to divide it to make 2 minyanim. Rabbi Moshe in Yerdei Dalet Samachal Dalet says you should never divide it into 2 minyanim because Maris Melech. And also, what happens to the second minyan ends up in a hall. You're not davening a base medrash, you're not doing base medrash. And b'chalal, experience shows when you have a minyan davening the whole davening up and down, it's not davening. You have to finish because you're blocking people to go out. Someone told me, I didn't see this, but someone told me that there's once 19 people and 2 yard sites during the week. So they said 9 here, 10 here, and there was no one that they had 19 people. 9 here, 9 here, and there's one in the middle. And there's a new explanation of dual citizenship. You belong to both minyanim. That's a schus for the neshama. So basically, if a person has the Amid, fine. If he wants to go find Amid, but to do something keneged halacha for any minhag, but especially this minhag that really is questionable, is not the right thing. The question we began with is that, really could be a share for itself, but the kitzah, an einan that's an einan over Shabbos, and the crew will be either Sunday morning or going to Rachel Sunday night, he's left with a dilemma. He's not going to daven Motzei Shabbos, Mariv. Havdalah will be Sunday night. So there was a suggestion to daven early Mariv on Motzei Shabbos, or on Shabbos, you make Shalshudas early, daven Mariv, and then make Havdalah ala kos. Now this sounds almost wild, but it's a very good one. Brachas Chav Zayin, Rav made early Shabbos, and daven Mariv made Kiddush. Rav Yoshia daven Motzei Shabbos on Shabbos, because there was, like Tais says, there was an Oynis Gomer that he could make Havdalah later. So he davened Mariv Ba'oid Yoim on Shabbos, made Havdalah on Shabbos, and then, of course, he didn't do Malacha until this man. But he was Yoitza, Mariv, and Havdalah on Shabbos. Now, of course, you don't use Ner with Havdalah. The summon is questionable because the nice nothing wrong with making a bracha on summon, but it's not helping because you didn't lose the neshama yisei. But this is quoted in Shulchan Aruch, Reisha the Gimel Aleph Bima Achra Shabbos, and the end it says an oynis is allowed to make early Mariv and early Havdalah. So it's not a very different item, right? But you're going to sugi, it's not so question. First of all, the Bach, and Mr. Brewer quotes and says, this is a milsa hatmul l'rab which should never be done. I didn't the Gemara. I don't know. Maybe they could adjust it better. But it's tmul l'rab. It's not done. Number 2, specifically in our case, we understand that the whole objective is to keep Shabbos, not to chop Shabbos. Because don't forget, even though he can't do malacha, but if he daven Maariv, he's an atachay, and he made Havdalah, his location is not pure Shabbos. I don't know what his location is. He can't do malacha, but he made Havdalah. So if the whole objective is to stretch the Shabbos, so why are you chopping up the Shabbos? He wants the chaperai Maariv. Who asked you? You follow the Beinstein's title. Shabbos he's pot. But Motzei Shabbos he's an oyman. No? And I make Havdalah Sunday night. What's wrong with following halacha? And more so, in the Havana, in the shtickle of a character Sasri. If he's recognizing you could make Motzei Shabbos early, so then he must be in the Aninus mode once again. So what's he gaining? And the biggest raya is Motzei Shabbos, Tisha B'Av, we delay Havdalah until Sunday night. Why don't we do the same like in Oyman? And then I saw even more beautiful chap. Listen to this. Yom Kippur shechal b'Shabbos, the Shabbos is wonderful, but what happened to the Sudas Shabbos? So there's the old question, why did you make early Shabbos on that Erev Yom Kippur? Only early Shabbos. Make Kiddush, sing Shabbos mirrors, eat a Suda Shabbos, bench, say what say, benching, and then you have a Kabbalah Yom Kippur. You'll make early Yom Kippur, Shabbos, not early Yom Kippur. You have a Suda Shabbos. So the simple teretz is you can't divide one day. You can't Kabbalah Shabbos one day. But there's a more gishmaket teretz. The early Shabbos had the identity of the coming day. So if you tell me that it's Shabbos, it's Yom Kippur. Here, that's where it works against us. If you're making early Motzei Shabbos, then what day is it?
Sunday.
It's Sunday. So then it's back to Oinen. Rather, I must mention this Fardish Poison, the Kafachayim and Ayin Alas Yitkot and Gimel, if you're Oinen and Bovlam and Gimel, recommend this for an Oinen to make early Maariv and early Motzei, early Havdalah. But the Mishnah and Ayin Alas Yitkot and Yud, like the Magen Avram says, not to do it. And the svar would be, Havdalah, like the person will have Sunday, whatever, Sunday morning, Sunday night, whatever it is, and Maariv, that's the Ratzon Hashem. He's Oinen is Potter from Amitzvah. A few points about the actual saying of the Hinayam. The Magen Avram said, Al Pi Kabbalah, one should stand for at least the pasuk Hinayam. I can't tell you what, that's the Magen Avram says. And Mr. Brewer quotes it in our Simon. However, the Allah in Tov Pei Tes Sif Aleph, the Masal Mitzvah, quotes Rishonim that you're allowed to sit by Hinayam. And it seems there are two minhagim by Eden. Some people stand the entire time. Hinayam, you should say, oh yeah, Yata Kadosh. Why stand by Kadosh? Kedusha the Sidra. Chazanish once say, they once asked him, how can we stand by Kedusha the Sidra? He says, it's Zitzich, I can't sit. Kedusha the Sidra, it's Kiyam Ha'olam. But those that sit during the week, Motzei Shabbos, there's more of a reason that they don't have to stand. Why? During the week, Kedusha the Sidra is said to get Kedusha the Sidra for Kiyam Ha'olam. Its purpose is Kiyam Ha'olam. Motzei Shabbos, we saw from the Rishonim, why do we say Kedusha the Sidra? Because we first daven for ourselves, so we have to also kvod Shemayim. Could be it's not a real Kedusha the Sidra, so it has less about a chiyuvim than a weekly Kedusha the Sidra. But I think we could say, there are some people that stand in the they should say, oh yeah, we have the Kadosh, Kabbalah and Bרכho. Those that sit by all three, they're following halacha. Some people stand till after Kedusha the Sidra, and then they sit down. Each minute has a makar in halacha. Another interesting halacha that was regarding this exact sugya, many people, like see about not machmir, but many yeshivas, etc., by Kedusha the Sidra, the Chazan will say the Kodesh, and together the tzibbur will say Kadosh, 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 and Baruch Kavoy. Those mekaymes that are makbid to do this during the week, you have to also do it on Motzei Shabbos. So Pashtus, why not? That's the Kedusha Sidra. But again, the feed varayim, there's a shtickle side to be made. It's not, the object is not to Kedusha the Sidra, it's the Shabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But then again, logic dictates you want to give Shabbat HaKadosh Baruch Hu to do it right. And that's why the yeshivas do it during the week and Motzei Shabbos. I once was in a shul, an interesting story, the Tzibba either made a mistake, or he thought that there's no reason to say Yinayim, and right after Shemone Esrei and Mariv, he said, Kaddish Tiskabel. So the one I yumped it, oh, now it's Fafalani, now I want to say Yinayim. That was wrong. You want to say Yinayim, that's for sure. No, Issa. But the question is, when you finish Yinayim and the whole part of it, what Kaddish do you say? So certainly, Chatzik Kaddish makes no sense. This could be to say another Kaddish Tiskabel. Where have I got this from? Because the same question we have, Purim, we say Kaddish Tiskabel before the Megillah, and then it becomes have the minhag after the Megillah, after they have Kedusha the Sidra, another Kaddish Tiskabel. Others say no. Why Kaddish Tiskabel? No Shemone Esrei, Kaddish Shol. So this Shaila, this very Shaila, is totally in that scenario, but one thing is clear, no one says to skip the Yinoyam, cherish it. And last but not least, interesting question, for Maariv Motzei Shabbos, is there an inyan, a chiyuv to wash your hands for that Maariv? So washing your hands is not just a minhag, it's a Gemara. The Rambam says he didn't wash it before davening, it's ma'akiv davening, and the Goyin and my Sirav Samach Gimel, when washed the minhag Maariv, made a bracha on the Netilah. But, and that's why I mentioned it, people should know, you come from work, come from ball playing, from recess, you have to wash your hands for minhag Maariv. But here we could rely that if you wash for mincha, then you wash through the shlishis, and you basically had in mind to keep your hands, and you have to keep your hands clean, you could rely on that until Yadayim. Basically, the Yik is to see the Gavaldige, the Imasar Torah, minhag Yisrael Torah, I didn't talk to you.
Beautiful shir, Gan Shane, I'd like to thank Rabbi Smith for the wonderful shir. Also, I'd like to thank our Boston Azza for sponsoring today's shir. Yeilu Nishmas, Rabbi Rabbi Nosson. Chamak Hashem, Rabbi Shbor, Zaki, Yisrael, Afik, Yibram, Mitzvah, Shenema, Adinoi, Chofet, Manzilka, Yagdo, Trevor, Yari.
Right outside the coast. 1 minute. In the kitchen. You know what it is? That was a witness. Get away by the shore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, You will learn today, we saw many Yisrael tired, the Torah Shlema every minute. The main insight of today was that there's a double benefit, a dual benefit to delay the Yitzias Shabbos. It's a Chesed and B'chaim, it's another minute of Kodesh HaKadoshim of Shabbos, of Meinam Haba of Shabbos, it's a Chesed and B'chaim, but there's also a major factor of Chesed and Mamesim. It delays the resumption of Gehenim. The Mason had a retreat from Gehenim during the week, during Shabbos. So delaying Shabbos has two parts of it, the Chesed B'chaim and the Chesed B'Mamesim. And that explains the school of the Dukkha of saying Burachim, Bרכו, and Bרכו slowly to delay the ending of Shabbos. Some people add two Kaapitlאך, Motzei. We wondered why Shemone is typically not said on Motzei Shabbos, and the answer is because the reason why I say it is to put Torah into our night and Shabbos we have Torah, but basically we're trying to add to the conclusion of Shabbos. The concept of the Gehenim is also the hezbollah why many don't drink water bein hashmashos of Motzei Shabbos. The reason to say Yiraneinu Motzei Shabbos is understood. The question why it's not said, and it must be a technicality because Yiraneinu was never said on Motzei Shabbos because it couldn't replace the Shemone Esrei. Because there's no atochay like there's no the bרכת קצר, Shemone Esrei of עננו. We also explained that even though you already daven Mariv and you said atochay natonu, after Shemone Esrei is still a roishim, the reach of kedusha Shabbos, and that's why we add the Na'am, Yosef and kedusha tzibbur. Besides that, to add more to the Shabbos, the Yom is said because we're beginning Malacha, we need a tefillah for our Malacha. So a reminder to be ehrlich in business, of course. Yosef is for Shmira, Shabbos for Shmira, now the Shmira concludes. And Kedusha the Sidra, it's not derech eretz that we think of our own needs and we don't think of Kadosh Baruch Hu's covered. But primarily, it's the same Chesed in Machayim, we delay the Shabbos, and Chesed B'Mamesim, we are delaying the resumption of Gehenim. We also pointed out the importance of Noisabel Chaver that really Avelis Hanidus is all about, the Elokite and Timonis. And when do we say V'hinoyim, that whole package, when Motzei Shabbos is Yom Tiv or Chol Hamoed, no one says it. When Motzei Shabbos is Purim or Tisha B'Av or Chodesh or Chanukah, everybody says it. On Avol, the minhag today is to say it regularly. A Chosin, he says it, and the tzibur certainly says it regularly. If there's Yom Tiv during the week, any day, even if it's Friday, we did not say the entire package. Apparently, anytime during the week is a Yom Tiv, that's the protection, and that mitigates the Gehenna. Pesach Shechal B'Shabbos, there's a machlekes, if Yinayin is said in the Shabbos HaGadol, Motzei Shabbos HaGadol before, is the Erev Shabbos considered a Yom Tiv in this regard? Yom Kippur Shechal B'Shabbos, all agree we do say that Yinayin. Being a Shatz Motzei Shabbos is a very important Indian, more than during the week, in order to the schus of the Motzei Shabbos delaying Gehenna is particularly appropriate at that time. The yahrzeit during that coming week is only a minhag. And someone added a very good point, why the Chol is Shatz Motzei Shabbos, why an Avol should have Motzei Shabbos, because he will make the Bרכho, Rachom slower because of his personal feeling, because of his mace. The early Motzei Shabbos exists, but it's not done. Certainly by Ashkenazim, and Einim will follow the halacha. He'll say Krishna Taka on Shabbos, but that's it. Motzei Shabbos he won't daven, one Havdalah. Standing or sitting by the Yinoyim, etc. is totally minhagim. If the Chazan said the scalp by mistake, you definitely say the Yinoyim, and some say repeat the scalp or kadesholim. And the person knows his hands are clean from washing of davening or shalashudis, and someone added, or of the Maariv, then until time is not needed for Mariv of that Motzei Shabbos. Yes.